Hello teachers, this is the instruction guide for Primary 2, Term 3, Week 8. Okay, so for this week, there'll be two booklets and the focus will be on fractions, right? So they are all understanding fractions booklets. Now, let's start with the first booklet. Okay, so the first booklet, especially for those who are new to this, although I think many of the students would have done fractions in school by now, right? Strangely. But a good example is to use the pizza to get them to understand what fractions is about. And this is important because especially when explaining the denominator, you need to tell the students that it is about cutting them into equal parts. All right. So for example, whole pizza, if you cut the pizza into half, right, into two pieces, okay, and then each equal part, right, will be 1 out of 2. Okay, so right at this point, I think it is it'll be actually quite important, right, for students to understand the concept. If you cut it into 2 parts, it'll be out of 2. If you cut it into 4 parts, it'll be out of 4, right? And then they should be able to get this easily. So 2 parts means that there are 2 pieces. Here you can see half of it will be 1 out of 2, and then the other half will be 1 out of 2. Put together, it is 2 out of 2, right? Which makes one whole pizza. Okay, so get them to understand this idea. And then of course, if you want to use it as a square as an example, you can do it as well, right? If not, you can still use a pizza, right? What if the square is cut into, first of all, let's try cut it into 2 parts, right? And then after that, cut into 4 parts. And the shaded area, which is the numerator, right, would be 1. And the total number of parts that were cut, it's 4. So this means it's 1 quarter, 1 out of 4. So the shaded part is 1/4 or 1/4. Okay, get them to familiar with writing these concepts. And then again, by the time that you get to this page, I think they would have understood what is a numerator, what's a denominator really. Again, denominator is the total number of parts that have been cut equally. And then the numerator would usually refer to the selected part, right? Or the shaded part. Okay, so you can either call it selected part or shaded part. All right. So let's see. Then you get them to do the guided practice. So this one is quite easy. Circle the square, the figures where it's 1 out of 2. So remind them that the 2 parts must be equally cut. All right. So if they are still not sure, you can see that ask them whether C is equally cut into 2 parts. You can see one part is bigger than the other, right? Otherwise, get them to do on their own. Okay. They can monitor. I've conducted this with some students today, and generally there's no problem with that, right? So it should be quite okay. All right, and then get them to do this one about 1/4, right? Which one is cut in equally into 4 parts? All right, and then the selected one is 1 out of 4. Question 3, which one is cut equally into 3 parts, right? And shows 1 out of 3. Okay. And then the last question, right? This person cutting the pizza into 4 equal parts. He eats 1 slice. What does that mean? So you can either write it as, and this is the part that later on student will either get wrong, right? So, so supposedly you either say it's 1 out of 4 or 1/4. All right. Some students may say 1/4 out of 4 parts. No. Okay. It's 1 out of 4 or 1/4. Okay, same with this one. So with this, I think most of it will be quite easy to go through. You might want to go through question 1, because some students may have fun with it, right? It's quite fun doing this. Ask them, Joe ate half a pizza, right? Is it possible? Some would say, no, it is not possible, but it is possible. And the idea is not about whether a person can eat half a pizza or the whole pizza, but whether a pizza can be cut equally into half. And yes, it can. What about the second example? Amir had 1/4 of a teddy bear. Okay, so obviously you cannot cut teddy bear into quarters. All right, because it'll be unequal. The question that would be difficult to answer is when students ask, "What about chickens?" Right? Can you cut chicken equally into 4 parts? If you say no, then they'll say, yeah, but then what does quarter chicken mean, right? So you have half chicken, you have quarter chicken, and so on. Then you have to tell them, okay, no, technically you cannot cut the chicken into quarters equally. Okay, half possible, but quarter not, right? It's just people tend to use it, like well, I think it's used in the market, and so on, but mathematically, no, it is not a quarter. Question 2. Okay, most would get it. Ask them whether this question is correct, right? Is this hard? Because if you look at the other examples, right, they are symmetrical. This one is not symmetrical. And the correct answer, right, is that this is still half. And cut in and equal parts has nothing to do with symmetry, right? Because if you think about rectangle, the rectangle is made up by two equal triangles. Okay, so in case you don't understand this, I might want to tell them that it's nothing to do with symmetry. Okay. Okay, then I would suggest maybe to just, the rest are actually quite easy, but to take them through. So this is one that students may get it wrong. So maybe work one question with them, right? One out of three, they have to note that. Okay, instead of, let me see, the other one would be, yeah, 1 out of 11. Yeah, so we don't do too many of this, okay? If they have show computers, maybe just do one of the harder ones, like for example, J, all right? So what is one? So they have to count the number of triangles, right? Total, there are 8 triangles, so it's 1 out of 8. Okay. All right. Yeah, all this, I think perhaps just do one question. If they can do one, I'm sure they can do the rest. All right. So I'll leave it you to pick the question. Okay, maybe question 23, right? Okay, quite easy. 23, 1 out of 12, right? So it's reading 1 out of 12. So that's quite easy. Okay, and then let's see, this one is filling correct fractions. I think that's no problem as well. If you'd like, just get me to do one question. Okay, all right, then let's move on to booklet number 2. Here you're supposed to name the fractions. Okay, so it's various ways of, for example, describing the fraction. So it can be either 1 out of 3 equal parts, also known as 1/3, or if you write numbers is 1 out of 3. If it is more than 1, then it'll be 2/3 with the S, right? Tell them that. Then of course you have the TH, right? Anything else after the third one, right? It's all TH forms. Okay, 3 out of 8ths. If it is 1 out of 8, then no S, right? But it's 3 out of 8, then it's 3 out of 8. Okay. How do we read 5, 8, right? 5 out of 8. So you can actually say 5 out of 8 or 5/8. Then get them to do the guided practice. Yeah, so this is some of the parts. Sometimes they may get it wrong. They will say 4, 7 out of 7 parts. So actually that's wrong, right? It should be 4 out of 7. Okay, independent practice. Maybe just pick a question like on page 8. Okay, should be quite easy to do. So the 6 out of 8, also known as 6/8. Okay, so this one, some of them may get it wrong. They may just count the numbers that are shaded. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and just say 7 of the figure is colored. So they have the right in fractions. Okay, so yeah, just go through this with them. And then for this one over here, they're supposed to spell it out, right? So I think just do page 15, 2/3, 6, 7. Remind them that there's a hyphen right in between that, right? And if they cannot remember the hyphen, right, you may want to tell them that, oh, remember this, right? This line here, right? That is a hyphen as well. Okay, it's a very bad, there's actually no relation, right, between the hyphen and this one here, but yeah, you may use that to remind them, right? So one of the ways to get to remember carefully. So, and the rest I think are quite straightforward. Okay, then you can move on to booklet 3, which is more practice. Okay, who is correct? Let's do question 1, right? Lisa wanted the color for 4/10 of a figure. And so this is what she did. So Lisa say, I've colored 4/10, and said, that is not correct, right? Colored parts should be together. So ask them, right? Do you think Lisa is correct or N is correct? I'm not sure what the response would be, but of course you have to explain to them that 4 out of 7, right, is actually any 4 out of 7. It doesn't have to be together, right? So it's any 4 out of 7. Okay. Shade 2 out of 4, yeah, so this one they can, can accept any 2 out of 4. All right, maybe just one question to do. Okay, sheet 5, 6, right? Was a 1 a fraction and then 1 with the wordings. Okay, rest are quite okay, and so yeah, so this one here, right? What is this? 1/6 of a whole. Okay, yeah, so perhaps do question page 8 with them. So it's quite straightforward. And maybe if you have the time to do one more on page 12, question I. Okay, get them to do one question like this as well. Here they are supposed to, this is page 13. They don't have to cut it out, just use a ruler, okay, to split the rectangle into half, right? Ask them to do it 3 different ways. Okay, so just do one of it. And yeah, right, 3 different ways. Okay, then the rest I think they can do it at home. All right, then perhaps do one last question here. Page question 20, right? They're supposed to write the number of parts. Okay, they have to do a different one here. And that's it, right? I think quite fairly simple. And this is marks the end for this week's Introduction to Fraction 3 booklets. Thank you.